सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। ॐ नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्या संप्रदायकर्तृभ्यो वंश ऋषिभ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। So we were looking at the Bhashya for the 20th Vakya, which is like a huge Bhashya. He completed it, but I thought maybe we should go over the entire arguments, whatever Bhashyakara has made with different types of Purva Pakshis. Okay, all of them are really Dvaitis, but they all have something to question us, okay, in different ways. And how Bhashyakara has answered all that, we have been seeing for many weeks now. I don't know, so many classes have gone. So maybe we will try to just get the entire argument in one flow, how it goes. So here, the main argument comes that there is this Tasya Upanishad Satyasya Satyam. So Tasya, for this, there is a secret name which is Satyasya Satyam. It is the truth of the truth, like that you can say. So, secret name of what? That is the question here. Okay. So, Asmad Atmanaha also is there. The Tasya references this Asmad Atmanaha. So, from this Atma, all the Sarve Pranaha means here all the Indriyas, okay, sense organs, all the Lokas, all the Devas, all the beings, everybody has come. Like that it is presenting. So initially, the question here is, what is this Atma which is referenced here? That's how Bhashyakara starts the entire discussion. Okay. And the Purva Pakshi here says that what is under discussion is the individual self, which is the Vijnanamaya. Okay. Okay. So here, initially, Bhashyakara is presenting that currently under discussion is the Vijnanamaya, the individual self. And that individual self is the samsari, who is subjected to sukha, dukkha, who thinks that he or she is a limited being, subjected to wants, lacks many things, therefore wants to do things, gain things, and somehow fulfill one's desires, hoping that it will make one acceptable to oneself, which will take away all the wants, which will make you see yourself as somebody who is complete without any lack. But that never happens. That is the problem of a samsari. So here the initial question is this Asmad Atmanaha, that Atma is referring a samsari or an asamsari. Okay. Now if it refers to a samsari, then this entire jnana which is being talked about here, the knowledge, is about this individual self only. In fact, the knowledge under discussion is called Brahma Vidya here, because the whole thing starts with I will teach you Brahman. Okay. That means the Brahma Vidya now becomes the knowledge of the individual self, who is a samsari. And by knowing this individual self only, you gain everything also, because that also was said in 1.4.10. Or if this Atma is an asamsari, okay, then what will happen? Brahma Vidya will now refer to Brahman, which is asamsari, which is like Paramatma. Okay. And but whichever way you take it, everything is based on the Shastra Pramanya only, because Brahman itself is Upanishadam Brahma, it is present. Brahman itself is known only through Upanishads. Shastra only is presenting to us saying that there is something called Brahman. Therefore, whether that Brahman is samsari or asamsari, everything we have to know only from the Shastra. Fine. Now, this one problem, this Purva Pakshi who is presenting this Brahman as samsari, he says that if you say that this Brahman is really asamsari, okay, and this identity between this samsari and the Param Brahma, which is asamsari, only is being taught by the Shruti, then Shrutayaha Kupyeran, he says, okay, Kopa and all is there, correct? Kopa means basically anger and all we think, but here Kupyeran means basically you are going against whatever the Shruti is telling. Okay. So why he is saying that is, if you say that asamsari Brahma alone is being revealed by this Brahma Vidya, then the Upadesha itself is anartha, he says. Upadesha is useless, teaching is useless because asamsari Brahman does not require any teaching. And since here a lot of confusion is there, whether the samsari is being talked about or asamsari is being talked about, even Panditas are all confused. Bhashyakara says here, Panditanama api etan mahamohasthanam. It is great delusion is there with reference to this subject matter, it seems. Therefore, we will discuss this so that we will have buddhi vyutpadanaya vicharayishyamaha, Bhashyakara says. So to know the right, to have the correct understanding, we will now start a discussion. This discussion is a big discussion. Now, initially in this discussion, first one guy comes and says, Na tavat asamsari paraha. So this asmad atmanaha does not refer to an asamsari paramatma. Why? Because he says this whole, in this teaching, we started by going, this Raja went to somebody who was sleeping. He woke him up by getting hold of his hand and all that, correct? And then this person heard this Raja calling out his name, and then he woke up and all that. So only an individual is subjected to these states of waking, dream, and deep sleep. And therefore, the Utpatti Shruti here also actually talked about Vijnanamaya, and then only it is talking about that everything came from this self, and that self should now be only an individual self. Okay. And also there is nothing called Paramatma, he says. Okay, there is no ruler, Prashasita, Ashanayadi, Varjitaha, Paraha, Na Vidyate, there is no Paramatma. Why? Because he gives his own reason. He says this whole thing started with Balaki saying, I will teach you Brahman, correct? Brahman Nyapeshyami. Sorry, Brahman Nyapeshyami was said by the Raja. But before that, Balaki started by saying, I will teach you Brahman, but later on he didn't know enough. Then the Raja also said, I will now teach you. Like that it starts, at least this section. Then he went and woke up a sleeping person. And then that sleeping person is none other than an individual, correct? And he is the one who is the one who knows all this sense objects through sense organs. So he is the one who is receiving all the stimuli through the sense organs. Therefore, such an individual self only was shown. And also his swapna also was talked about, correct? So this same individual goes into swapna loka, he becomes a king, all that. Okay, we saw that. Therefore, and then the sushupti also was talked about, the sleeping avastha also. So the one who is characterized by all these states and is the individual self, and that individual self only was shown by all this drishtanta also, he says. Okay, the spark drishtanta was given, correct? Fire and spark example was given, and also the spider example was given. All these things are only showing that individual self is the cause of this whole world, and there is nobody else the Shruti is showing as the cause of the world. So the Vijnana Maya, the individual self, is the cause of this entire world, and that's what this particular section also is saying. And also he now quotes the same story appears in another Upanishad, Kaushitaki Upanishad also. There also it is the similar thing he says. Okay. So it starts with the Purusha who is there in Aditya Adi Devatas, whoever is the Purusha, and that Purusha is the one who is the Karta. Okay, and he is the one to be known, like that. Kaushitaki Upanishad also is saying the same thing, where the same story comes. And therefore the Vijnanamaya only is to be known, and that has been shown here. There cannot be any other meaning for this. Like this person places his arguments. And then he further gives some more arguments. He says even Brihadaranyaka itself will later on say, Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. Everything is priya, is loud, is pleasing only because it pleases you, the self. Whatever is pleasing to the self alone is loved by everybody. So self alone is unconditionally loved. Everything is only conditionally loved. Only if it pleases the self, it is loved. Therefore, everything is for the sake of the self alone. And that self is only individual self. So that individual self is the one most very popularly known by everybody. It is the Prasiddha Priyaha. So everybody loves themselves, and that self is the individual self alone. And that is the self also should be seen. And that self has to be the Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana and all you have to do only to know this individual self. Like this, he says. And also, before in 147 in the Brihadaranyaka also, Atma Ityeva Upasita, that is the Vidya Sutra. There also the Atma is individual self alone. Okay. And in fact, that individual self is loved even more than anything else, even your own putra or the wealth, etc. Okay. And Tad Atmanam Eva Aved Aham Brahmasmi iti, that individual self alone is known as Brahman. Like this 1410 also is says. So from all these things, this is that individual self only is referred to here by the Asmad Atmanaha, and there is no Paramatma or anything. Para also is Abhava is there. Okay. And even later on also it will say Atmanam Ched Vijaniyat Ayamismi iti Purushaha, like this it will come later on in Brihadaranyaka. That also is talking only about the individual self. And all the Vedantas are only talking about an inner self, Pratyagatma. So the inner self can only be the individual self. Okay. Therefore, there is nothing to be known outside. The Brahman itself is never talked about as an object. Nedam yadidam upasate, like this even Kena Upanishad explicitly says. Therefore, individual self alone is Brahman. And even Kaushitaki again he quotes. He says, this Brahma, this self is the one who is the speaker and not the spoken word and all that. Na vacham vijijñasita vaktaram vidyat. Like this it is there. So from all these things, the karta, the individual self alone has to be known as the cause of this entire world. So now this first objection to this person is given by another Purvapakshi. He says, what if we say that in another avastha, this individual self only becomes asamsari? Avastantara vishishtaha asamsari iti chet, he says. Then for this, the original guy, this guy who says that it is all individual self, he says, even then what? The one who is listening to everything in the waking state, all the words, etc. He only goes to sleep, correct? How can he change? His nature cannot change just because he goes to sleep. he cannot become asamsari and Paramatma and all that. This is totally illogical. In fact, it goes against all that we see and know. And he gives this example. He says, one padartha, any vastu, any object, you know it as having certain characteristics. It cannot change its characteristics. The desha kala may change. Space and time, place and location, place and time may change, but that object is the same with the same characteristics. It has to be there. Okay, if it starts changing like that, then there won't be any way of having proper knowledge itself. There won't be any vyavastha. Okay, pramana vyavahara will become impossible. You cannot know anything as a valid cognition then, if things keep changing like that. Also, he says that, he says nicely that, of course, he also quotes here this Nyaya and Sankhya and Mimamsa people also do not say that there is any asamsari. So they also are showing this asamsari is not there. Asamsarinaha abhavam. They show a lot of logic for that. And another thing he says is, a cow is there. When the cow is walking, it is cow. When the cow is sitting also, it is cow. But when it goes to sleep, will it become something else or what? Will it become a horse? Even while sleeping, it is cow only. So avasthantara also does not make any difference. Like this, he gives his own argument. Now for this, the other argument which is given by the other Purva Pakshi is what? The samsari is an alpajnaha, alpashaktiman. Everything is alpa. Everything is limited. And this person cannot have neither the knowledge nor the power to create everything. He cannot be the Jagad Utpatti Sthiti Laya Karana. So that is ayukta, that is illogical, that is impossible. Okay. Like this he says. For that also, this guy who says that it's all individual self, what does he say? He says that Shruti is revealing. He is trying to fall on the Shruti. So this person who says that Paramatma is there, Asamsari is the Brahman, he says that this individual self does not have the knowledge or the power to create everything. But Shastra is saying that like this, and we have to have Shraddha in the Shastra. So that is the first paksha. Okay, tasmat sarvam shraddhayam iti syad ayam ekaha pakshaha. Then for this, the other person who says that no, Brahman is asamsari, Brahman is the cause of everything, Brahman is Ishvara, Paramatma. So this person quotes so many Shruti Vakya here. I'm not going to go into each of that, but we can understand that so many Shruti Vakya, Yaha Sarvajnaha Sarvavit, from there onwards it starts. Ashanaya Pipase. So the one who is all knowing, one who doesn't have any thirst or hunger, one who is not having any connection with anything, one who is Akshara, indeclinable, like this, so many Shrutis are there. And even Smriti also is there. Bhagavad Gita also, Bhagavan says, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavaha, Mattas Sarvam Pravartate. So I am the one from whom everything comes. Okay. From all these things, we understand that there is a Paramatma, which is Asamsari. So from Shruti, Smriti, and Nyaya also, we have to accept that there is a Asamsari Paramatma, who is the Jagat Karanam. The individual cannot be the Jagat Karana. So you are wrong. Even otherwise also you are wrong. You said that this Prakarana is talking about the individual. Even that is wrong. Because he now says in the same 2:117, Ya Yeshaha Antar Hridayaha Akashaha. Like this it starts. So within this Hridaya Akasha, the one who is like Akasha is there, means that Akasha refers to only Paramatma. And this Akasha Shabda has been referring to Paramatma in different Upanishads also. It is there. Even in Sandogya it is there. There is even a Dahara Vidya and all that. where Dahara Akasha is talked about, the Akasha within a particular individual. So the Akasha Shabda is referring to Brahman or Paramatma. This is there in Brahma Sutra also. So based on all these things, whatever here also, Paramatma only is under discussion. Okay. So Akasha Shabda refers to only Paramatma, and that is used here also. Therefore, whatever is under discussion is Paramatma. Therefore, Asmad Atmanaha, that refers to only Paramatma, and from that Paramatma only everything has come. All the Srishti, the entire creation has come. And anyway, the samsari individual who is limited does not have the capability to create, neither sustain nor resolve everything back into oneself. That has been already told by us. So, and also I have now quoted so much Shruti. I have also disproved all your contentions. Okay. So Paramatma is being referred here. But now the one who has argued so far, we can go along with this person. But this person is a Dvaiti. So what he says now is this Atma ityeva upasita Atmanam eva avedaham brahmasmi. Like that, this Brahma Vidya which has started means here this Brahma Vidya is really about only Paramatma Vidya only, about knowing the Paramatma. And this Paramatma is Asamsari Brahma, and that is the Karana of this entire Jagat, which is not having any samsari qualities like hunger and thirst, etc., which is always Nitya, Shuddha, Buddha, Mukta Swabhavam, and all we normally say, correct? It is always pure, always free, okay, always conscious, aware being. And the samsari is totally opposite to all these things, and therefore Aham Brahmasmi you cannot say. You cannot equate this samsari individual self with Brahman, which is asamsari, which is Nitya Buddha Mukta Swabhavam. Okay. So he says clearly, Tasmad Aham Brahmasmi iti na grinhiyat. Okay, so this person is a Dvaiti. Okay. And this Paramatma only is this Deva. He is the Ishana, he is the ruler, overlord of everybody. And samsari is Nikrishtaha, is lowly, puny person. Okay, he cannot be this Paramatma. So samsari is full of defects, dosha bhag and all that. Therefore, you cannot say Aham Brahmasmi. Okay. So if you say that, if you say Aham Brahmasmi really is establishing the identity between samsari and the asamsari Paramatma, it is like saying what he will say. It is like saying fire is cold or Akasha is having a farm and all that. Therefore, you have to do with flowers, with water, doing Abhisheka. Okay. Then you have to sing his praise. You have to do Namaskara. You have to sacrifice something for this Paramatma. With all these things, and you have to do Swadhyaya. You have to study, read about this Paramatma. Yoga also you can do. All these things you do only to do Aradhana to this Paramatma. Okay? By doing all this Aradhana, you know that the ruler, the overlord is this Brahman. Okay? That's you can only know this Brahman, and then you have to go to that Brahma Loka or something. Then all these Dvaitis talk about Loka. They are all tourism promoters. My Guruji used to say. So they are all only tourism promoters. In fact, most Dvaitis also say even Jivan Mukti is not possible for them. You have to only Videha Mukti. You have to give up the body and go to that Loka, hopefully, and then you will like that. Whether you will really like that Loka or not, also we don't know. There is no IPL or cricket in those Loka. Means some people may not like. Anyway, so this is the Dvaiti, and he says that all this Brahmatma Aikyam and all is only Arthavada. It is all only praise, eulogy. It's just praising the individual. who is trying to know this Brahman. And this is the correct position. It is in keeping with all tarka, all kinds of logic. So whether it is Shastra or Shastra Sammata Tarka also we say, the logic or logic which goes along with whatever the Shastra says, and also Laukika Jnana, worldly logic, both are supporting this position only. Like this, he completes his argument. Then Bhashyakara comes here because Dvaiti has presented, no, he has to present Advaita. So what does Bhashyakara do? He goes into the Pravesha Shruti. This is where Pravesha Shruti is so crucial. That's why. Because Pravesha Shruti everywhere says that Paramatma, Sarva Karanam Brahma alone has entered as the Jiva. Not in one Upanishad. Each and every Upanishad in whichever Shaka of the Veda, all of them talk about that. So even in Brihadaranyaka, Sa iha pravishtaha, like that 147 itself has. Bhashyakara quotes another thing here, 2518, because it is in the second chapter, I think. Paraf Purushaha Avishat also is there. Then Rupam Rupam Pratirupaha Babuva Tadasya Rupam Pratichakshanaya. So the one only took all these forms. It became into many forms. And he is quoting Taittiriya Aranyaka also, which we chant very popularly with Purusha Sukta, correct? Sarvani Rupani Vichitya Dhiraha Namani Kritva Dhivadaniyadaste Dhata Purastadyamuda Jahara Shakra Pravidvan Pradisaschatasraha. Like that, it's a very popular Taittiriya Aranyaka. So this Brahman alone became all these names and forms, and then it kept on saying its different names and all that. It seems it is only doing Vyavahara like that. So in all the Shaka, Bhashyakara says, Sarva Shakasu Sahasra Shaha Mantravadaha Shishti Kartuhu Eva Samsarinaha Sharira Pravesham Darshayanti. Clearly he says, all the Vedas, different Upanishads, all of them only show this Asamsari alone has entered and become this Samsari, Pravesha Shruti. And then he quotes other Upanishads also. Tat Srishtva Tadeva Nupravishat Taitriya. Then Sa Etameva Simanam Vidharya Etaya Dwara Prapadyata is Aitareya Upanishad. So he opened and entered and all that. Simanam Vidharya. And even Chandogya also is there. Okay, Anena Jivena Atmana Anupravishya. Like this, different Upanishads are there. And so the same Atma is shining everywhere. Yeshaha Sarveshu Bhuteshu Gudaha Atma Na Prakashate. Kathopanishad also. Also, in every Upanishad, every Shruti, this Brahman is talked about only with the Atma Shabda. It is only talked about as the self always. Okay, and self always refers to only the Pratyagatma, the inner self. Therefore, you cannot say that this inner self is different from this Brahman. And even Mundaka also says this Atma alone is the one which is there as the Atma in all the beings. Yesha Sarva Bhutantaratma. Therefore, other than the Paramatma, there is no separate samsari anywhere. Okay, and that's why Upanishad also says Ekameva Advitiyam. And also it says Brahmaiva idam sarvam. Everything that is here is Brahman. Atma alone is there here, all these things. Like this, basically, it is proper to say that this individual self is none other than the Brahman. Like that we can understand. Because Pravesha Shruti supports that. Like this, Bhashyakara first tries to address the Dvaitin. So now there are very standard questions are there, correct? Every Dvaiti has all these things. So he says, if this is so, if this is the Shastrartha, then Paramatma either will become Samsari, okay, because you are equating Samsari with Paramatma means only two things can happen. Paramatma will become Samsari, which is again, Shastra itself will become Anartha, because what is the point of making an Asamsari into a Samsari? It is useless Shastra. Or if you say Asamsari alone is there, the Shastra will become useless then also. Why? Because the Asamsari need not be taught anything. He is already asamsari, does not have any defect, any dosha. Therefore, this whole your teaching, Shruti, everything will become useless. Okay. And also, if you say that same Paramatma is there in all the beings, in all the bodies as the Atma, then this Paramatma will come into contact with all the Sukha Dukkha of all these beings and will become one super samsari, correct? Paramatma will become super samsari. This problem will be there. Okay. So, how are you going to answer all these issues? Because Shruti is presenting Paramatma as asamsari, so your teaching will go against the Shruti again. Shrutayaha kupyeran, again he says. And also Smriti also. And also even all logic, whatever you are saying is totally illogical. Like this fellow is countering. Okay. Now, if you say no, even though this Paramatma is there in all the bodies, it does not come into contact with any Sukha Dukkha. It doesn't have any sambandha. Even if you are able to say that, this Paramatma only is there, let us say, that means samsari is not there, then also Shastra will become anarthas. I already told you that Paramatma does not require any teaching. Okay. So Upadesha anarthakya doshaha na shakyate nivarayitum, he says again. Okay. So this is one objection straight away. Now another fellow comes here. This is the Bheda Bedavadin. Bheda Bedavadin also is a Dvaitin only. But they can call themselves Vishishta Advaitin and all that. As soon as you talk about Visheshana and Vishishta, it is all Dvaita. Understand that. Some people call themselves Shuddha Advaita and all that. I don't know what is Shuddha in that. They are also Dvaitins only. Anybody other than an Advaitin is a Dvaitin. Whatever may be their own, they can name themselves anything. In fact, I find a parallel with most communist and all this socialist countries. They all put democratic in their country name. Democratic People's Republic of Korea is North Korea. I don't know what democracy is there in North Korea, correct? So most of these leftists, they have their own label. They are the most liberal. They give as though, but they are the most totalitarian people, totalitarian ideology. They cannot accept anybody else. They kill everybody who do not accept. All their political opponents were all killed. Millions of people are gone. But they present themselves. So it is something like that, I think. So anyway, here, this other person comes. He says, Paramatma himself did not enter. Because here, this Pravesha Shruti also has to be accounted for, correct? So the Beda Bedavadin starts from there. He says, Paramatma himself directly did not enter with his own Swarupa, which is asamsari, but he changed Vikara bhavam apannaha vijnanatmatvam pratipede, he says. Okay. So change means one portion of Paramatma changed and then became this individual self. Okay. And this Vijnanatma is Anyaha from the Paramatma from one standpoint, because he is samsari. Paramatma is asamsari, but he is Ananyaha also because from another standpoint, he is part of the Paramatma only. So both Anyaha, Ananyaha, Bheda, Abheda, both are there. Therefore, my position is the best, he says, because I can account for all the Bheda Shruti, I can account for all the Abheda Shruti also. Therefore, everything is accounted for. There is no contradiction anywhere. So he says, Evam, in this manner, Sarvam Aviruddham Bhavishyati. So there is no Viruddha anywhere. Everything is Aviruddha, no contradiction. No, but Bhashyakara shows what are all the contradictions in this argument. Okay. So he now tries to divide this into three different ways. You can say this, that this Paramatma, one part of the Paramatma changed and became Jivatma, correct? That is the Pravesha Shruti and all that. If you say, he is showing that there are only three possibilities of talking about this like this. What are the three possibilities? One is like this earth. Earth itself is a conglomeration or a compound of so many substances, correct? Although we talk about it as earth, and we say that from the earth you can make a pot, it is an earthen pot. But earth itself is a compound of so many elements. And from that earth you make a pot. One part of that earth has become a pot, correct? Avayava. And then one part, Ekadesha Viparinamaha Vijnanatma Ghatadivati, says Bhashyakara. That is one option. Okay. Or another option is what? This earth, this we cannot take earth here, but this entire thing is only one. It's not like a compound of different elements and all that. Paramatma is of only one nature. Okay. But one part of it still, okay, becomes something else. Like the hair growing on the head. You are one body, correct? Always all the parts of the body are connected and it's all part of one body only. But in that one place hair is growing, in another place there is no hair. Can we say like that? That is another option. There is only one, but in that one part has become something else. Or the entire thing became like milk has become curd. Entire thing became modified. Which one can we take? The third one we can leave because that is totally absurd. That's not, nobody wants that. But the other two also will have serious problems. Because in the first option, really Paramatma, you cannot say anything called Paramatma because Paramatma itself is a compound of many different elements means. Which is Paramatma in that? It's only a category you can say maximum. And in that again Jivatma identity with Paramatma means with one, with exactly. There cannot be any real identity, anything. You cannot talk about it. Ananyaha, you can never say. Okay, because you belong to the same jati, you don't become identical, correct? Samana jatiyatvam does not mean ekatvam. So that first option itself is a problem. Siddhanta Virodha will be there. Okay. The other one you say that Paramatma is only of one nature, but one part of it changed. Means that also is problem. Okay. So Ekadesha means one avayava become, it changes and become samsari means then that the whole is there in the part, Bhashyakara says. Therefore, the whole also will be considered as samsari only. Okay. Because the whole is there in the part. Like even, let me say a car is there. You scratch the car, correct? You cannot say I only scratched the door. The car is there in the door also. If you scratch the door, you have scratched the car. You cannot say that you have not scratched the car, correct? So you cannot say you go and put a knife into somebody's heart or stomach and you cannot say, no, I did not kill that entire person. I only did something to his stomach. So you should not punish me and all that. You cannot say that, correct? So Bhashyakara says that if even one part becomes a samsari, whole is a samsari only. Okay, so even the second option is a problem. There will be a sambandha, samsaritva sambandha will come, and you can no more claim that it is a samsari. So everything is whatever option we take, and the third one means entire thing has become samsari is totally anishta. It is undesirable. So all these three possibilities are undesirable. And in fact, they are all against the Shruti. Why? Because Shruti is very clear that Brahman is Nishkalam, Nishkriyam, all these things. It doesn't have and Nirgunam. It doesn't have any qualities. It doesn't have any activity in it. It doesn't have any parts. And it is Akashavat Sarvagataha, partless and all pervading. Okay, it is unborn and undecaying, undying, immortal. And it is never born, it never dies. All these things are there. It is avyaktaha, indeclinable. So all these Shruti, Smriti, so many are there. You are going against all these things by saying that there is a parinama, there is a modification of the asamsari into samsari. So all these realists have this problem. They cannot account for the Shruti really. Whatever, how much ever they try to give some explanation, everything is illogical only. We can easily show that. Okay. Therefore, this Ekadesha Parinama Vada is a problem. Bhashyakara gives some more arguments also. He says that if you say like this, then how can the individual have transmigration? There also there will be a problem. Entire Paramatma also have to become a samsari and go through all that. So your argument is all problematic. Okay. Then he says, no, the example is there. This is the problem. People, without knowing what is the teaching is, they go too much into the example. This problem is there even with our own Advaitins also. Many times people are stuck with the analogy. They are not very clear about what the analogy is trying to teach you. But they go into the analogy, into the example, try to split it into so many things, and it becomes a problem. Understand that an analogy or an example can never be completely in agreement with whatever is being taught. It is only a device to make you understand a particular point easily. Correct? So here Bhashyakara makes some very, very important arguments. He says that when this Purvapakshi says, no, there is this spark analogy is there. How can you say, okay, that one part did not become samsari? So Bhashyakara here, Shruter Jnapakatvat na Shastram Padartha Ananyata Kartum Pravrittam Padarthan Anyata Kartum Pravrittam. Sorry. So Shastra is only showing you what is there as it is. Any Pramana has to only show you what is there. Right? It has to be true to the object it is revealing. Otherwise, it is erroneous. All knowledge has to reveal to you whatever is there. It is not creating anything new. It cannot change something from whatever it is into something else and all that. Understand that. Okay. And therefore, any drishtanta which is given is only to reveal something, correct? And whatever it is revealing has to be something which is anadigatam also, because each pramana has to reveal something unique. It has its own field of revelation. It can neither contradict something else, nor can it reveal something which has already been revealed by some other pramana and all that. Then it is not even a pramana. It is only anuvada, we say. It's only a repetition or a recollection. So a pramana has to reveal something unique, and what it is revealing you have to understand first, and then analogies and all have to fit into that. Correct? Analogies are trying to make that revelation easily understandable, and it has to use only analogies and language which is worldly. Correct? Even though Shastra is revealing something otherworldly which is not available to any of the Laukika Pramana, only Shastra has to reveal, but still it has to use only whatever is available, all the language, the words, and even the concepts which are there here to reveal something which is other than all these things, something transcendental it is revealing. So this point Bhashyakara makes here beautifully. So how to interpret the Shastra, how to understand these different examples. So he shows all these things. Okay, but this person again says that even he gives now, see, Shudra Vispulingaha Mamaiva Amshaha Mamaiva Amsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha Manashashtani Indriyani Prakritisthani Karshati. Okay, at least this verse we cannot forget, because we used to chant this 15th chapter before lunch every day in the Gurukulam. So most of us know the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita at least. So Mamaivamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha, like this. So he is an amsha of me, like this Bhagavan is saying. What are you saying? Like this the Purva Pakshi is saying now. And Shruti also is there, Vispulingaha and all that in the same thing. Means all these analogies are only to show the oneness. Bhashyakara reverses the whole thing. This example is not to show the manyness. It is only to show that originally spark also was fire only. Jiva also was Bhagavan only. Correct? It is the other way around you have to understand. Because the teaching is all about oneness. Teaching is not manyness, because manyness need not be even taught by the Shruti. Understand that. Bhashyakara says that. Why nobody need to teach you manyness because it's already there. Why should the Shastra come and teach you? In fact, my Guruji used to give this story that originally there was one Guru, it seems, and one person came to him to study. And this Advaita Guru, he taught him Advaita, then but this person already had some preconceived notions. So he said, no, how can you say that I am Bhagavan? It's all nonsense. He left. He went to some other Dvaita Guru, studied for 12 years, all Nyaya, Tarka, and that you are not Narayana. Correct? So he now again went back to this Advaita Guru. He wanted to have a debate. Okay. Then this Advaita Guru saw this person. He wanted to teach him a lesson. So what did he do? He said, wait, I will come and debate with you, but let me first have a shave. Let me shave my head, beard, everything. So he called Murari the barber. When Murari the barber came, as soon as Murari came, this Advaita Guru fell at his feet and said, Murari, you are the real Murari. Lord Murari, you are Bhagavan. Murari was aghast. Murari went back a couple of feet. He jumped back, in fact, as soon as this Advaita Guru did Namaskara. Then how can I be Narayana? I can never be Narayana. Don't fall at my feet. Then this Advaita Guru got up and saw this other guy. So then this person understood what is the use of studying all these 12 years, all kinds of tarka and all that. Murari also already knows that, correct? Without studying any Shastra, any Veda, ordinary guy, whoever is dealing in this world, everybody knows manyness is there as reported by the sense organ. Shastra need not come and say the same thing. Shastra's purpose is to teach Ekatvam, and all the analogies also are to be interpreted in keeping with that, correct? So that's what Bhashyakara points here beautifully, that so even Shastra everywhere it starts with by showing Ekatvam. In between it has to account for the manyness, correct? What you are seeing. So it talks about Srishti Prakriya. But even that Srishti Prakriya, it is teaching you only to show that this many is nothing but Mithya. Even while you see the many, one alone is real, one alone is there. And it always ends also by teaching this oneness. Upakrama, Upasamhara, in between. So from all these things, we can say that oneness alone, oneness of Brahman alone is the Tatparya of the Shastra. That's what it wants to really teach. And even all this Utpatti, Skriti, Laya, whatever, Utpatti Adi, Shruti and all have to be only understood in such a way that it reveals this oneness. It is for the purpose of teaching the oneness only. If you say no, they are two different things, then it again becomes Ekavakyata and all is there. In Mimamsa argument also Bhashyakara gives here. He says that if you say that Shastra is teaching two different things, means according to Mimamsa, then you have to have a phala for each one, correct? For Brahma Vidya separately you have to have a phala. Then for Srishti Prakriya, whatever Srishti, the same in the same section only everything is being talked about. Normally one section is supposed to reveal only one thing, that is called Ekavakyata. But if you say no, there is a Vakyantaram also is there. Another thing also it is talking, another topic, another thing, means that has to then have its own phalam. Because Shastra is Phalavat Artha Bodhagatvam is there for Shastra. It is not like other means of knowledge. Shastra is a deliberate means of knowledge. Whatever it reveals should have some usefulness, some purpose, some result. But that you cannot show for the Srishti Prakriya, etc. Therefore, it is all aligned only to reveal the oneness of Brahman. Like this, he beautifully argues here, and he just dismisses the Veda Vedavadin. Then he shows a story also, he says. Here he quotes the Dravidacharya before him, whoever was there. He is the Sampradaya Vidaha, Akyayikam Samprachakshate. So the Sampradayavids tell a story about a prince who got lost in the forest and he was brought up by a hunter. He thinks that he himself is a hunter, but some other minister knows, like in our movies and all, he has some birthmark and all those things, or he has a family song and all that, we don't know. Based on that, this minister again identifies this hunter as the prince, and then again tells him that you are really a prince, not a hunter. So then he has to give up all the notion that one is a hunter and become a king, correct? But that, again, he doesn't really become a king. He is already the king only. He is a prince. So like that, this asamsari only has identity with this body, mind, sense complex and becomes samsari. That's all. And this asamsari has to be told, no, your identity with this body, mind, sense complex itself is erroneous. It is a wrong notion. It is false identification, in fact. You are the conscious being who is the limitless, who is Satyam Jnanam Anantam, Anandam, Brahma. Therefore, it's the same entity alone. There is only one conscious entity. And that has to be only pointed out. And that is the teaching. And even this Agni Vispulinga and all these analogies are only showing that Ekatva. Vispulinga or spark also is nothing but fire, correct? Its nature is fire only. Whether it is part of a big flame or a small spark, everything is fire. Its nature is fire. And everywhere Shastra also is talking about only this homogeneity, we have to say. See, even if you say one, all these other guys say Paramatma is one, but within that there are all these Jivatmas also make up this Paramatma, and all this also they make this Vishishtadvaitin and all. But then there is no homogeneity, correct? But Shastra talks about homogeneity, Saindava Ghanavat and all it says. It is like even salt is everywhere salty. Similarly, this Brahman is only Vijnana Ghana, Prajnana Ghanam. Okay. And Ekada Eva Anudrashtavyam, you have to understand this only in one way and all that. And also it is doing Ninda of seeing many things. Yaiha Nana Iva Pashyati. The one who sees as though there are many things here will go from death to death and all. It will say. So Ninda Vachanam also is there. So from all these things, it is very clear that Shastra is only teaching the oneness. And also this Brahman is Niravayava and Asamsari, Paramatma. In that you cannot even have any kalpana of Ekadeshi Samsari also. Okay, so in its very nature, there cannot be any samsaritvam. So then how do we explain all this samsaritvam? Means that's where upadhi, everything is only upadhi kritaha, conditioned factor only. Okay, like this, if you say, then also this person says, all these kinds of thinking can be there for both avivekis and vivekis. So how do you say that this is what the Shruti is teaching and all that? Because he is saying even the jnani is seen, the one whom you say is a jnani, who has understood this oneness, also is still operating in this world, correct? So that question also Bhashyakara answers here. He says that when an aviveki says the same thing, he is really meaning that, correct? He is really deluded, he is ignorant. But the viveki also can do a vyavahara similarly, but very well knowing that it's not the reality, correct? Just going along with others. So Bhashyakara even says all that. Yatha Krishnaha Raktaha Akashaha iti Vivekinam api kadachit Krishnata Raktata cha Akashasya Samvyavahara Matra Alambanarthatvam, he says. So even a well-known scientist can say sky is blue. No problem, correct? You come outside and see blue sky, you can even take a photograph. But he being, he has the knowledge that sky, space does not have any color, correct? So that's not a problem really. So from that you cannot say that there is a problem or he doesn't have any jnanam. Okay. So this amsa amshi bhava, etc., you can never establish. It's all only your kapola kalpana. It's all only imagination of your skull. There is no reality to that. In fact, Shastra wants to only reveal Brahman as something which is beyond all thoughts, correct? Because it's not an object of any thought. It cannot be an object of any thought because it is limitless. If it becomes an object of any knowledge or any thought, it will become limitless. So Brahman is never an object. In fact, it is the Swarupa of the subject. That is how you have to understand. That's how the Shastra also is revealing this Brahman as something which is never objectifiable. It is aprameya. So, and also this Brahman is never presented as something other than oneself. It's always presented as oneself only. And so all this samsaritam, etc., is only because nama rupa upadi nimitta eva. Okay, by superimposing all this anatma dharma and on oneself, one is suffering. Okay, but in reality, there is no samsara. In fact, everything is iva only. Dhyayati iva, lelayati iva, and all Vedarnika itself we'll talk about later. And also one's real swarupa is not growing or it's not declining or anything. Na karmana vardate, no kaniyan. All these things are there. It's not stuck in any karma or any papa, punya. Nothing touches oneself. Because one is only a conscious being always. Everything becomes evident to me. But the problem is I identify myself with what becomes evident to me. So whatever I see is not I, but that knowledge does not stick. I put that I identity on even the things which become evident to me. I am the one who is the conscious being to whom everything becomes evident, and whatever becomes evident to me is not me really. That knowledge has to stick. It's not something very easy, I think. So that takes some effort, but that is the idea here. So all your arguments about Ekadesha Vikara, etc., is wrong. Okay, it cannot be really substantiated by the Shruti. Okay, and also anything which is showing all this Veda Pratipadaka also, they are all only to finally show the Ekatva. So like this, the entire Upanishads are only teaching the Paramatma Ekatva Jnanam. Like this, Bhashyakara completely dismisses the Vedavadi, but then the Dvaitin comes back. I hope these things are all more clear to you. Dvaitin comes back and again talks about that if you say that Ekatvam is revealed by the Upanishad, then Karma Kanda will become useless. Because if Ekatvam is there, there cannot be any Veda, there cannot be any Karma, Karaka, Karma Phala, etc. Karma Kanda also will become useless. And if Ekatvam is true, Upanishad also is useless, because then to whom you will teach? Again the same problems and all they talk about. All these things also Bhashyakara clearly points out that Karma Kanda is only interested in going along with you. You have already taken yourself as a Karta Bhokta and you have certain desires, correct? You want to gain certain things, you want to avoid certain things. Karma Kanda is only giving you dharmic means for whatever you want. Okay, Anishta, Ishta Prapti, Anishta Parihara. For this purpose, Karma Kanda is giving you means and ends. It does not bother itself about whether the reality of all these things. That's not its subject matter at all. Each Kanda within the Veda also has its own subject matter. One does not really contradict the other or really even talk about the other. And similarly, Upanishad is talking about Ekatva, means that doesn't mean that nobody can do karma or follow the Karma Kanda. In fact, very few people really want moksha. So what is the big deal? This also Bhashyakara says later on. So all this argument about karma kanda will become useless, Upanishad teaching also will become useless, and all is meaningless. In fact, finally we saw, correct? Finally, this Nayayika also says something similar, where Bhashyakara took them on and showed that they start with an implicit understanding that there are many things and try to establish the same thing as a great inference or something like that. So he showed the illogical, whatever, their own big, they build a huge castle without any foundation. That is the problem with all these Nayayikas. So he showed all that beautifully and established that Advaita, Brahma Ekatvam alone is being revealed by the Shruti, and everything else, even though the Shruti may talk about Srishti Prakriya is there, all that is only to show the Ekatvam again. That is the whole thing. So I hope I gave a reasonable summary of the entire arguments here. Next week we'll definitely continue with the second Brahmana now. The next two Brahmanas are there. They will talk about, it will continue with the same topic actually, and we'll see that. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
धन्यवाद।
धन्यवादः।